Pep Guardiola makes subtle change that speaks volumes for Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has taken a different approach to his substitutes this season. There have been valid reasons for not going overboard with City wins in the calendar year, with their form such a struggle. They may have eked out a consistency that enabled them to qualify for the Champions League and reach the FA Cup final, but it was clear that problems remained. Corners that looked to have been turned against Juventus in the Club World Cup and Wolves in the Premier League quickly looked like dead ends against Al Hilal, Tottenham and Brighton. Beating United in the derby felt good, and Napoli should go down as an excellent win. Even conceding a late equaliser at Arsenal, where they lost 5-1 last season, should not take the gloss off what has been consecutive steps forward for Pep Guardiola. At the very least, though, it appears that City's manager feels he has more players that he can rely on now. In the 6 matches this season, win or lose, Guardiola has used 28 of a possible 30 substitutions. The Brighton and United games were the 2 fixtures where he only made 4 changes, but otherwise a full 5 were brought off the bench in the course of the 90 minutes. This appears to be a change from what Guardiola used to do, and is a marked upturn on last year. However, looking a little closer into the season shows that even if this start has been unusually high, City's struggles last term can be told through their substitutes. Guardiola made 31 of a possible 45 changes in the Premier League between the start of last season and October, averaging 3.4 changes a game. Between January and May, he made 70 out of a possible 95 to bring his average up to 3.7. In the toughest months of the season, though, the manager made just 29 out of a possible 50 changes in 10 games in November and December. With City's injury crisis at its worst, Guardiola not only struggled to fill his bench, but did not have as many players that he felt he could bring on to make a difference. Even if the results haven't quite reflected it, that is clearly different this season. Not just because City are looking to ensure they do not suffer a repeat of their injury issues, particularly after the Club World Cup. Guardiola is using more of his squad on a match day significantly more than last season. After playing the same starting 11 for the last 3 matches, Guardiola will be looking to rotate most of his team when they head to Huddersfield in the Carabao Cup. And while he may be looking to give some stars a night off, there may still be room for plenty of substitutions on the night to keep everyone as fresh as they can be. Pep Guardiola told he may regret Manchester City transfer decision as forgotten star shines. Issa Kabore is yet to make a senior appearance for Manchester City, but has hit the ground running on his debut during his season-long loan at Wrexham in the Championship. Pep Guardiola has received a warning about a player it suggested he might fancy bringing back to Manchester City. Fullback Issa Kabore is currently on a season-long loan away from City with Championship outfit Wrexham. Despite never featuring in a senior match under Guardiola since his 2020 arrival, the 24-year-old has made a flying start with the Welsh side owned by Hollywood A-listers Ryan Reynolds and Rob Mack. Kabore made his bow for Wrexham on Saturday, getting the nod at right wing-back as they made the trip to take on Norwich City. The Burkina Faso international made an immediate impression, providing 2 assists for the Red Dragons as they defeated the Canaries 3-2. The victory lifted Wrexham up to 15th position in the second tier following a rocky start to their season, which saw rumours sparked and subsequently dismissed regarding manager Phil Parkinson's future. The ex-Bolton boss has now playfully expressed worries that City boss Guardiola, who isn't blessed for options in the right-back position, might be tempted to bring Kabore back following his outstanding showing against Norwich. Speaking to The Athletic, Parkinson said, "What can I say about Issy? The medical team were behind me and saying, his sprint distances are completely off the scale. Can we get him off? But he was doing such a good job defensively. For us, we have had very attack-minded wing-backs in recent years. He is that. But we also needed someone with a defensive mindset as well. In 1v1 situations against a really good player in Papa Diallo, he had to stick to his task. I just hope Pep doesn't get a video of the game as he might want him back." The likelihood of a recall remains slim in reality, with Kabore spending the majority of his City career out on loan. He previously turned out for Luton in the Premier League during the 2023/24 season, following their rise to the top flight. He flattered to deceive during a temporary move to Benfica last year, though he showed greater promise in the latter half of the campaign at Werder Bremen. Several clubs were reportedly keen on securing Kabore's signature in the final stages of the summer transfer window. Ipswich and Leicester were amongst the championship sides who made approaches, alongside Bundesliga outfit Hamburg and French club Paris FC. However, it was Wrexham who eventually landed his services on deadline day and are now benefiting from their shrewd business. Another individual left impressed by Kabore's display was Wrexham forward Josh Windus, who netted twice against Norwich. The lads who have just joined were outstanding, and the whole team were, so it wasn't really down to me, he said. Kabore was a threat all day, and Sheafy Ben Sheaf in the middle and Big Dom Hyam at the back did well too. I thought everyone was outstanding. Angry Bernardo Silva labels Arsenal game unfair and hits out at Man City disrespect. In fresh row, Manchester City midfielder Bernardo Silva did not hold back after their 1-1 draw with Arsenal at the condition they were expected to play in. Bernardo Silva hit out at the disrespect Manchester City were treated with at Arsenal on what he called a bad day for football. Gabriel Martinelli struck in injury time to earn a draw after Erling Haaland's early strike had looked like earning a big win for Pep Guardiola's side. But they couldn't hold on as Arsenal's substitutes again made their mark, leaving City frustrated at the unfair conditions they were made to play in. UEFA held the opening week of the Champions League across 3 nights last week, and the scheduling meant City hosted Napoli at 8 p.m. on Thursday, more than 50 hours after Arsenal had kicked off in Bilbao on Tuesday. Guardiola held his tongue when asked about the schedule, but Captain Silva did not after the 1-1 draw. I am saying this because we didn't lose. If we lost, I wouldn't say this, he said. But the reality is we cannot come to one of the most important games in the season with such a disadvantage in terms of rest. It is not fair to play one of these games like this. It is just not right. They had 5 days and we had 2.5 days. In one of the most important games, this cannot happen. I wasn't feeling in a perfect condition to play like this, and people who have not played at the highest level don't know how it feels to play a game like this. They don't listen to us. It is what it is. We would like to change something, but it never changes. It does not really matter. But for the fans, for the respect of the clubs, and for the fairness of the competition, I don't think what happened today was good. Silva's complaints will likely fall on deaf ears, not least because it would require multiple stakeholders in the game to cooperate, and at least one of them to compromise. City's trip to Arsenal had already been scheduled for Sunday by Premier League broadcasters when UEFA chose to put out the fixtures as they did in their marquee Champions League week. It is also a situation that has happened before. Arsenal had basically the reverse before playing at the Etihad last season, and teams who play in the Europa League will frequently play on Sundays after Thursday games. Silva's issue is not that the turnaround was tight, but that it was so clearly to the advantage of one team in what is one of the biggest fixtures in the Premier League calendar. The schedule is the schedule, and I understand you have different competitions, and UEFA, the Premier League, and the broadcasters want to make their money, and I understand all those sorts of things, he said. We don't mind playing every 3 or 4 days, and we don't mind playing 60 games because we are used to that. But what we ask for is common sense, because this is one of the biggest games of the season. And it is not because of us. I don't think that they are trying to make us lose a game. It could happen to Arsenal or Liverpool in a few months. But when you are playing an Arsenal versus City, or a City versus Liverpool or Liverpool versus Arsenal, you need to have a bit of common sense, an understanding of these situations, and in such an important game, the players need to be in the same physical conditions. Otherwise, I don't think it is fair. I know it might have happened to other teams in the past. We can lose any game in good conditions or bad conditions, but we need the respect and the common sense to be at the same level to compete. Today, it did not feel like we were in the same physical condition as them. I felt the difference in the first half. If you play at the highest level, you know that 2 days playing against one of the best teams in the league, away, with the travel, you need at least 1 more day to recover. It doesn't matter if Arsenal had 4, 5 or 6 days to recover. Just give us 1 more day, and that gives us 3.5 days, and then you make it an even game. 2.5 days is not enough to recover our bodies and to perform at the highest level. It is just not enough. Arteta and Pep Guardiola will lock horns once again this weekend as second-placed Arsenal take on 8th-placed Manchester City in a battle for the ages. Arsenal will host Premier League rivals Manchester City at the Emirates Stadium on Sunday, with a lot already at stake for both teams. Pep Guardiola's side haven't started off their campaign on the best foot, with 2 wins and 2 losses, placing them squarely mid-table alongside the likes of Sunderland, Crystal Palace and Newcastle. Meanwhile, Mikel Arteta is sitting in second place, a regular spot for the Gunners, after 3 wins and 1 loss places them within touching distance of league leaders Liverpool. The 2 rivals have had many battles over the years, with City edging Arsenal to the top-flight title on multiple occasions in the past. However, this year is different. Arteta is sitting 5 places above Guardiola, but a win for City would help them climb onto the same points total as the Gunners. The North London side are coming off of a comfortable 2-0 win in the Champions League, while City secured the same result against Napoli during Kevin De Bruyne's homecoming match to the Etihad Stadium on Thursday. Arsenal will kick off against Manchester City on Sunday, September 21st, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. The game will take place at the Gunners' home of the Emirates Stadium in North London. The blockbuster clash will be shown live on Sky Sports in the UK. The game will take precedence across 2 channels, on Sky Sports Main Event and Premier League. Now TV will also be showing live coverage of the game on their streaming service, with a day pass costing £14.99 for customers. Match highlights of Arsenal versus City will be available